Hello and welcome back to Robinsunne Art Studio. My name is Robinsunne. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share this video with anyone you think might enjoy it. So we're back on the brown paper backgrounds, and I wanted to show you what I've done. So on this paper, I ended up deciding that I would only do these running stitches. But then I decided, because this is totally fun for me. Oh, and also, I did the printing, the rubber stamping all over. So rubber stamping was my first layer. My second layer was the sewing. And my third layer is to do some paper cuts. So I thought I might do just one here with you. Just to kind of show you. It's been really fun. I've actually tried out 3 different pieces of paper, and I will take you there in this video and show you. I've tested out different layers of different techniques so that might be fun for you. The correct glasses. Yeah, and I tested out the different techniques with different colors. So those of you who have been with me before, know that this is origami paper, which is very thin. It's white. I get the Aitoh, A-I-T-O-H. I got it on Amazon, and it's colored on one side and not, it's just plain white paper on the other side. But it's very thin, and yet, how do I say this? It's like dense. So it's not like tissue paper, which is also very thin, but tissue paper isn't very dense, and it makes cutting it kind of tricky. And what I'm doing is cutting, I folded it in half, and then in quarters. I mean in triangles. And I'm making lots of little cuts. I'm cutting so that there's a whole lot of negative space, which is the air space. What other tricks, just in case? This is a pair of Fisker scissors. They have very short blades, comparatively speaking. To me, that makes cutting easier. So negative space is on this. You'll see this black part is the negative space. So I want a lot of negative space and not so much blue, which sounds counterproductive, but actually you still obviously get a strong hit of the blue. It's just delicate. It gets very delicate when we make lots of air in the paper cut. And it is hard for me to talk and cut at the same time. Get rid of all the little fluffies. And then we unfold them. And I've said this before, it seems kind of silly to me. I've been cutting these by the thousands for years. Like I cut them as a kid, but I only did, like, I don't know, 10 a year or something. Now I probably easily do, I don't know, maybe 1,000 a year. So I cut these a lot. And I still don't know how this is going to turn out before I do it. It's not big enough. This is big enough. So there. I like this kind of, I was looking at a music video this morning that had some Tibetan, I think they're called stupas, something like that. Like the temples in Tibet, and they kind of look like this. Like they're these big, round, domed buildings, and then they have a kind of a pointy part on top of it. Huh? It's funny. It sort of turned out like that. And of course, the Tibetan monks in the video were chanting about love and, well-being, all that. So then to put this somewhere on my paper, I would just take a bottle of glue that has a needle-nosed tip, and this art glitter glue has a wonderful bottle for this. There are others. I had some little bottles at first. The plastic that the bottle was made out of was a little bit stiff, and it hurt my hand when I was gluing for a long time. This art glitter bottle is a bigger, and also maybe the plastic is softer, so it doesn't hurt my hand so much when I'm gluing. And it makes gluing these little tiny spaces very easy. I don't get too much glue and sort of melt the paper with the water. By the way, this is Elmer's in here, not glitter glue. Glitter glue is made to hold plastic glitter, so it's got a little more grip to it. It's a little thicker glue. This is just Elmer's glue all. So, but this bottle is genius, and I like it very much. So the thing that I can do with this wonderful paper, if I've decided that maybe the 3 layers, the rubber stamping and the sewing and the paper cuts are layers enough, then I can make anything I want out of the paper if I'm done. And also, because sometimes little edges can come up on the paper cuts, I can maybe choose to Mod Podge this. I probably won't. I actually like the soft texture of the crumpled brown paper. But then when I'm done, I could cover a book or a journal with it. I could cover a treasure box with it. I could make cards or tags or envelopes or pockets that would go into a journal with this paper. Take whatever template you've got for that. I can also make a postcard 4x6 or an artist trading card 2.5 by 3.5 inches. And I love making these viewfinders, I think they're called, because if I wanted to make a postcard, I can kind of see, like, that's kind of interesting to me. You get it that this star is a little wonky. I liked this. Like if we turned it like this, that would be a pretty postcard, and you'd get lots of the But the viewfinder lets me see that. So I highly recommend making a viewfinder. You just measure out or trace a 4x6 postcard or an ATC card, and then it lets you see. That has this big bare space, which might be great if you had another, like a little cluster or something metallic or something, I don't know, anything. And you can put more and more stuff on this, washi tape and more rubber stamping in a different color maybe. I'm looking around my studio and I see a box of sequins. You could sew sequins on this, or glue sequins. Sewing might actually help them stay a little better. Washi tape, postage stamps and faux postage stamps. Whoops, not the dolls though. So if I cut out this shape and I had this big empty space there, I could put a faux postage on that. Then that kind of fills out the card. Or I could move, like that's kind of interesting because it picks up a little of the blue and a little of the black paper cuts, and the star is facing the right way. You get the water, crosswise bird. But anyway, you get to test all that stuff out if you have a viewfinder. So that is a fun thing to make. Now, my second piece of paper, remember I was talking about drawing in the first video? And after I finished the video, I thought, oh, wouldn't it be fun to do writing? So I took a magic marker. Where are my magic markers? I took this Sharpie. They call this fine point. It has that kind of a point. And I just wrote in kind of big scribbly letters. Let me see if I can show you. I wonder if this is one of the pen that works. So you start in the corner. Just write in big scribbly letters. Let the words overlap. And write something that makes you feel. See, mistakes are fine. Good. I love you. I love me. Yeah, so you can write. I call this manifesto paper. It doesn't actually have to be a full-on manifesto. It could just be, I walked outside and the sun was on the green grass and I felt happy. So it can be as light and not all that deep, or you can write out really deep stuff that you're thinking about. My friendships and love relationships look like this, and about that I feel, or my job looks like that, and about that I feel, and you can sort of write it all out, but it turns it into art. Now, I highly recommend that you write about something that feels good to you, because we're going to be using this paper and that, for art projects. And I would feel weird to do a big write out of cathartic, working out my anger issues, and then use that paper in like a journal that I would give to somebody as a birthday present. Like, that would be weird, right? So I highly recommend that if you do this, the words that you use should be about all the people around you that you feel great around, and what it feels like to be loved by the people around you, and what it feels like to take a walk on the beach all by yourself so that you can just listen to the ocean and the angels, and they will probably tell you that they love you. They often tell me that when I go to the ocean. Anyway, so yeah, so words that you wouldn't mind using in art again. Or I mean, even stuff like I joined Greenpeace or something or other because I love the dolphins. They are like this and they are like that, and they're really smart and they're really da 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 da. So you could write about something else that you really love and appreciate, or I joined Audubon because I really love the trees, or I joined, I don't know, whatever. And what your life of service has been like and how it's been fulfilling and terrific for you, or the joy you get from watching your kids grow up and be marvelous, and how incredibly super fantastic they are. So you can write about somebody else, you can write about yourself, but I highly recommend that the words be words of love. So as I wrote this all down, I was writing out my heart and writing about things that I cared about. And I thought it would be fun to actually save the words. So I typed out the words. I meticulously went through this very long process. I went through and I wrote everything down. I'd write a couple lines and then I'd write it on paper, and then I'd write some more and I'd write it on paper. So I wrote it all out by hand. And then my handwriting wasn't all that beautiful even on this, and I had to go back and reference this page a little before I added anything. And then I typed it all up, and you get this whole page. It's really fun. And then, because I love this, also I wanted to show you this. I made a photocopy of the paper. You can tell the color. The original is a little yellower, and my printer printed it out a little redder, which is fine. Or you could take it like to a copy store, office store, and do copies there, and their photocopies, in my experience, are way better than mine. But anyway, I took this font, which I think was 16 point, and I turned it into a 5 point, and then I this much writing, when I turned it into a 5 point, was about this big. So I just copied and pasted all the way down the paper and ended, and I made the margins about as small as I could make them. And if I was going to use this as art paper, I would probably, like, there, tear the edges off. So there, so I'm spending too much time talking to you, and we have to end pretty soon. So then I just took one of the big, I think it's 9.5 inch origami papers, and I glued this down. And I don't know if you'll be able to see, but the glue on the wrinkled paper was not excellent. So there's some space. I mean, you can actually get under that. So I probably will Mod Podge this one and use this again for cards rather than, or if I wanted to use it to cover a journal with or something, I would cover the journal and then Mod Podge it. So when you do this, you could probably take a pencil, you know, and trace out where you want it to cut. But then you can center this big medallion, or you can make choices. Ooh, look, that's kind of cool. Yeah, so just play around with your paper. Ooh, that's the back side. And for my third paper, certainly not my last, here's what I did. Can you see that I took a green Sharpie and I made a vine with some leaves, and then I sewed on it. Let's show you here. Yes, and I did a feather stitch, which worked out really well. And then I did some drawing, but let me first show you that I cut another piece of paper, you know, a half of a grocery bag. And, well, let's do it this way. Let's do this. And I did a fan fold paper cut. Fan fold paper cut is when you fold your paper in half and in half again, and you make this sort of fan-like thing. And then I did the paper cut, and you can tell this is the part that I stamped. And it goes like this. Yeah, about like that. I don't know, something like that. There we go, I think. And I had one of those, I took a foam plate and put 2 colors of green on it. And this one I think actually was a blended color. I did some yellow. I didn't have a light green, so I did a whole lot of yellow and just a little bit of blue, and I got this yummy light green. And here you can tell right there is a circle. I did one of those foam, they sort of come on a stick, you know, and you can pounce. Is that what they're called? A pouncer? A stippler? I don't know. Whatever it is that they're called. I did that. And so there's the stencil. And I stenciled this, and then you can see here in the middle, it just wasn't, oops, it's upside down. Wasn't very thrilling. I don't know. That's not a bad postcard. I mean, that's pretty cool, actually. But I just wondered what would happen if I took some other markers, a gold marker, a silver. This is made by Pilot. This, which I really love this pen. It's a Uniball Signo in silver, and here's the Signo in white. And this is a Micron 01. And I also had a fine point green. So I just went and traced around all these. You can see they're really pale green. It's tough to see them a little bit. So I traced around them and drew some. Now see, that's a thing, right? That's pretty cool. And there it is, plain, which is all right. I mean, really, it's fine. You, if I was going to put on words or other embellishments, this center section would be great. And here it is. I colored the leaves in the big gold marker from Pilot. And I also added I took a big chisel tip green and did these polka dots. So yeah, that starts getting a little more exciting. I really like these over here. So, time is about to run out. So, I will leave you with my blessings and wishes for you. May you have fun experimenting. This is a brown paper bag. I think they cost 10 cents at the grocery store, actually. We get charged for them. I don't know, maybe you don't. We didn't get charged during the hardcore lockdown because that was the only thing they would bag things in, but they're back to charging now. But still, it's pretty inexpensive. And so I hope, I wish, I hope for you these blessings of experimenting with all the art that you know how to do, and you can go on YouTube and find some more ideas, or maybe you have some art books or art magazines and you could look through and see what other people do and see what you like. Go on Pinterest or, yeah. We are spoiled for choice. We are not spoiled. We are delighted. May you be delighted by all the wonderful art choices that are in our lives. And I blow the little blessings across the earth. Have a wonderful day and have fun making brown paper backgrounds. Bye.